We have a very incredible lunation coming up at 28 Sagittarius, the new moon on December 19th. This is an update video. I'm going to be covering the fact that this moon is out of bounds. It is on the mysterious galactic center, the origin myths of history of humanity, existential truths, things to do with sudden realizations and divine downloads. It's a pretty important piece of our sky. And when we add to that storyline that we also have Mercury sitting in Sagittarius, at the bending of the nodes of fate on a powerful star Antares as this moon occurs. And because Mercury's hanging out in the sign of the Archer with the moon, he's influencing the tonal quality of this new moon, of this incredibly powerful lunation. You want to add to the mix and you cannot make this poop up. We have 3i Atlas crossing right through our sky closest to Earth on December the 19th. This particular interstellar body is quite mysterious, and it has just recently turned gold. I'm recording on December 15th after being green and before that red. It's quite the narrative. Gold is the color of kings and the color of royalty and the color of the halos of the saints. So we have some interesting stories for it. Will be moving pretty well through the constellation of Leo in the sidereal sky, and it's going to bring us into contact with themes of kings and royalty or celebrities and high-level personalities. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that we have we have asteroids up there, which I've mentioned earlier on the video that came out on Sunday. This is a follow-up video on other elements, but we have this Elf Queen asteroid Varda that has to do with the creation of the stars. We also have the asteroid Asteria, and she is known as the Greek goddess of shooting stars, both hugging the moon in Sag, as well as Huya, whose name means from beyond the stars, a Venezuelan rain god. And we also have Gaia, the asteroid for the Earth Mother. All four of these characters are hugging the new moon in Sagittarius, in a part of the sky where astronomers believe that 3i Atlas derived from. It entered our visible field in July, and apparently it hailed from that away, from Sagittarius. So we're going to bring all of these themes together. Most importantly, I've already covered some of the basic premises of this lunation, the trine to Chiron with the asteroid Eros, as well as just the idea of pushing against that Saturn-Neptune wall a little bit to clarify something, kind of to clear it up, whatever it is that needs to be cleared in our lives, especially regarding truth and faith and hope and optimism and adventure, squaring off with delusion and responsibility and realism. So we've covered those already. Please go watch my drop on Monday, which was the All Signs Week Ahead. I covered a bit more about the hope. I covered a bit more about the chironic healing with the life force energy of Eros activated. Today, we're talking about the square energy of Mercury, bending the nodes of fate, particularly at the south bending the Virgo south node. And because it's all entangled within this lunation, we're also going to bring in Venus. She's going to be sitting literally one side of the sun, and she's going to be moving into a square to Saturn. And in essence, she is also telling us another story about this moon. Venus loves beauty, pleasure. She loves enjoyment of life, friendship, social time. She loves all the finer things that life can give us in the matrix and in the simulation. Yet she's coming up against a bit of a duty, responsibility, hardship of Saturn, and of course, Neptune as well. I like Venus and Neptune together, even in a square. Okay, even in a square, but it also still is a square. So Neptune is that oceanic, unconditional love, compassion, empathy, charitable energies, spiritual energies, religious energies in the sign of Pisces, and Venus in the sign of justice, truth, and law. We may see some very intense stories coming through our collective. Let's go ahead and show you the sky in a minute. I want to give you my overview before I do of what some of the world events might be about. This is an update video for a longer video that came out on Sunday. So we probably won't be here more than 75 minutes. So to touch base on the world stories first and foremost, we have the star Antares. It is a war star. It is one of the two war stars. There's Aldebaran and Antares. Antares is connected to Archangel Uriel in the Middle Ages of astrology, medieval ages. It's also connected to, it's a royal Persian star. It's powerful. It was used for navigation. And It is a very important star if we consider that Antares, this star that also is associated with war, and I'll be reading a little bit about that from this particular book by Oscar Hoffman, is that there are people, places, and things that have Antares intimately connected to their identity. One of them is Sagittarius rising, Benjamin Netanyahu. Another one is the United States of America at 12 degrees of Sag. The star is currently sitting around 10 degrees of Sagittarius. And where is Mercury sitting on the day of the full new moon? I mean, exactly at 10 degrees of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius entities, now Iran is potentially connected by a trine from its Leo rising or its sun in Aries, but I really think it's going to be more of a story with the characters I've already named. Joe Biden is a Sag rising, so there could be some stories about him coming up. Where we bend the node, we have a pivotal turning point, okay? And in your chart reading, because I'll probably call this video Pivotal Turning Point, Galactic Center infused moon with pivotal turning points, okay? The pivotal turning point is courtesy of Mercury. Yeah, the moon is squaring the nodes of fate, but Mercury's activating the precision square to the north node in Pisces and the south node in Virgo. I can hear you guys already. Who's going to be most impacted by a pivotal bending in the nodes of fate? All of you mutable signs, you Sagittarians and you Geminis. You are mutable, you are getting bent, as well as you Pisces and Virgos. So for all of you Pisces, Virgos, Sag, and Geminis, this is a very, very important moon. It's going to pivot your life in some fundamental way. So we'll get to that on your sign. One thing I want to say is that when I think about Sagittarius as a general principle, I think about air travel. So what could happen in the mundane astrology? We could see some kind of disruption of air travel, especially international air travel. And that wouldn't surprise me. It could be like some kind of solar flare, some kind of, a celestial event that disrupts communications or radar systems or satellites, that kind of thing. The other thing I'd say is that Sagittarius is about being adventurous, is about that kind of stepping into knowledge and faith and adventure and wisdom. And there's a quality when you see anything in Sagittarius where we all want to sort of get on our kind of eager, optimistic, hopeful qualities of our being. And that's like, we need that. It's a very big fresh start, new moon on the Galactic Center where you can have mystical experiences and divine downloads. At the very same time, we have a square to the very confusing Neptune from the moon. And Saturn is right there, which is like the reality check. It's almost like there's something that we're all collectively wanting to see come into form or to have a realistic grasp on. We want to know the truth, right? We want to know what is true. And that's what Sagittarius says. He rules courts and court justice systems. We want to know, and religious systems too. We want to know what is true. And yet there's obfuscation and confusion courtesy of this moon square to Neptune. And there's also the desire for certainty maybe being blocked. Saturn can be the block, the wall, the thing that disrupts the search for truth and clarity. And Neptune is that miasma of confusion, manipulation, illusion, and delusion. As I speak to you on December 15th for this video that goes out on Thursday, I want to mention that we have a big area of life where we're seeing a complete disintegration of the old guard, of the way things have always been. It has a lot to do with Pluto having first gone out of bounds in the south declination from the end of August to the end of November, disrupting our willingness to believe the BS, basically, because we, the people, will rise up against the power, like the American and French Revolution. It happened during the same conditions, the same circumstances of Pluto out of bounds in the south declination, which will keep returning every late summer into the fall until another 9 more years. So this is a time where you can't pull the wool over the people's eyes. And yet at the same time, the wool pullers are trying to pull the wool over the sheeple's eyes, so to speak. And it's just not working. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Let's see what Epstein files. And now we're getting the pictures dropped on December 15th. Jeffrey Epstein's midheaven is at the very end of Scorpio. It is absolutely no surprise, dead people's charts work, that we're having so many disclosures because Mercury just crossed over the top of the sky and activated and we also had a a new moon in November there, activating a huge exposure of all things Epstein. So you can't pull the wool over the people's eyes, because the people are going, wait a minute, I'm thinking there are some files. And yes, Epstein was actually doing what he is supposed to be doing, on like what Trump tried to say didn't exist, or what up files, or why are we still paying attention to that? Then the whole Candace Owens and Erica Kirk thing, which on the day of December 15th, they're meeting in person. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that because the activation of a star right now in our heavens, it is connected to poisoning. I'm just going to say, I know it's crazy. I know you think I'm a crazy old lady here, but I don't like that, because that star is activating Erica Kirk's Mercury, and also in Taurus across the way opposite Candace Owens' Mercury, where her sun, her vitality, and Venus also sit in Taurus. I don't trust nefariousness. I think right away of things that come right out of like a Vladimir Putin-esque, here, why don't we just put this mic on you? And then what does that microphone do, right? Does it waft out some kind of toxic neurological toxin that takes the person down over time with a really bad flu? I just don't trust the situation. So it wouldn't surprise me if something nefarious like that was going to try to happen, that would have a time delay of some kind. And like, oh, Candace Owens got very, very ill. How mysterious is that? So we got that story. That's me being a conspiracy theorist, but I was a conspiracy theorist about 9/11 and about JFK's assassination and about the foreknowledge of the Pearl Harbor event by the government, which also, most of those have turned out to be true. So it usually turns out to be what we call a conspiracy theory, is a truth that's waiting to be known. So look for some of that energy this week ahead. Okay. My biggest concern is the war star Antares, activated by Mercury, squaring the South Node in Virgo. Virgo is Lebanon, Virgo rising nation. It's happening to activate the ascendant or identity of the character of Benjamin Netanyahu. So we could see some dire and difficult war stories connected to that nation and the nation of IL in the Middle East. So we could also think about the United States being a Sag rising, right? And squaring like the Mercury at the bending of the nodes of fate, right? Like bending the South Node in Virgo, while also being in the same place as the rising sign of US. Mercury will move into a much tighter square to Saturn a couple of days later. 2 or 3 days later, but the energy of this energy is building up for a Mercury Saturn square, suppression of speech. This is what Saturn does. He contains, he suppresses, he blocks stuff like a wall, and Mercury is communication. Mercury doesn't have the details. He's in Sagittarius. It's like when the preacher is giving you a sermon on the pulpit, right? Or the rabbi or whatever, the imam or whatever, your person giving you the motivational speech, or the politician. You never notice they don't give you the details. I have a dream. And then like, what are the details? Like, how do we make that work? So there is that, right? There's like Mercury wants to give some kind of impassioned speech or information, or some kind of broad sort of wash of truth, like the color of truth is blue. And then you go, what gradient of blue is it? Can you give me the code number for the blue gradient we're talking about? And that's what I think is going to happen. First, Mercury will on the 21st perfectly bend the node of fate. He's building up on Antares on the 19th. And then several days later, I'll show that to you, he's going to square Saturn. So if truth is trying to come out in any possible way, what can suppress the truth? Or who can suppress the truth, or what truth is being told, but there's confusion about whether it's real, right? What do you mean? Da, da, da. And then there's all this talk about whether it's real or not. It's funny. There's a show I watched called Breaking Points, with Sagar and Crystal and all those guys, and Drop Site News. I like them for the most part, but they have stayed clear like a hot potato of the Owens story and the Erica Kirk story. They just dropped a piece today, and it was they had to wash it. Like they had to rinse it out damn spot. They had to make it, there was kind of a snide pretendingness that this was all just so soap opera, and like not to honor some of the factual inconsistencies to do with the actual investigation into who killed Charlie Kirk. And rather than look at that evidence and talk about it, they kind of did a kind of tongue-in-cheek, jocular, kind of condescending version. I didn't watch the whole thing, so maybe it got better. I just stopped listening. And they also fired some guy named James Lee, who was bringing controversial topics that could be considered anti-Zion, but it wasn't. It was just facts about what was happening in the geo side. And they fired him. They had him on for 2 years, but they were under some kind of probably monetary pressure, right? Probably that. I remember Kim Iverson said that's money. She was talking about the James Lee firing to James Lee on her show. And she's like, no. They didn't fire you because they had some vague reason, like you're going different ways. If they got rid of you, somebody who has money, who funds the show, said, we don't want that kind of content. This is Oscar Hoffman, Fixed Stars in the Zodiac. What a wonderful book. And I just want to give you Antares in a nutshell, if that's all right with you, because this star is often misunderstood. It has a lot of worldly success embedded into it, as does Aldebaran. Yet both of them are in a practical way connected with war. Pluto is still sitting on the military star Altair. Altair is the eye of the eagle in the constellation of Aquila the eagle. It has to do with military conquest and victory. We still have a very hot sky for war. Okay, a hot sky for war. It's the rival star Antares. It's red, the rival star of Mars and the Scorpion's heart. It's in the heart of the Scorpion in the constellation Scorpio. Oh no, what do you mean? It's 10 degrees of Sagittarius. That's because in the Western symbolic zodiac it is. In the real-time sky, it's actually in Scorpio, usually about 23, 24 degrees backwards in time. Malevolence, destructiveness, liberality, broad-mindedness, evil, presages, danger of fatality, ravenous, headstrong, self-destructive, obstinacy, and rashness. Mercury is speech or announcements, rash announcements about we're going to war with, we're going to conquer Venezuela, we're going to, rash speech connected to matters of war, rash announcements connected to matters of war. The only way the public in the Western world will buy into sending their children off to any kind of war or really funding any kind of major war at this time is a false flag event. Hopefully that's not the brash and rash announcement. He talks about when Antares is on the moon, right? This is if you were kind of born with this energy. You might have influential friends. It's good for business, domestic matters. It's good for honor, power, and wealth, but it may not be lasting. And you may have sickness, drowning, assassination, or violence when it's on the moon. Okay, so this star isn't on the moon. This star is with where the moon is happening, and Mercury is a part of it. But keep those words in mind. If you were born with Antares on the midheaven, which I have, it gives you honor, preferment, and good fortune. I bet you everybody wants to know what it means if you have anything anywhere between roughly 7 degrees and say 13 degrees of the sign of Sagittarius in your birth chart. That is going to be having that star on that sun, moon, or rising in your sky. So because I know you're going to want more information, and I'm not about to do that for you here, it would take me too long, I would suggest you take a look at something like Oscar Hoffman's book of Fixed Stars and find out more, because that will help you figure that stuff out. I did teach a class on Bohemian fixed stars and in the zodiac, and I'll probably be teaching another fixed star class. So come to my Patreon community and sign up, and you'll get a lot of classes about this stuff. I forgot to say hello. I'm Lori Lothian, Western Topical Zodiac. Can you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell? I would appreciate that. I also forgot to tell you my $44 pre-sale price is gone, but yes, $55 during December. If you want to grab my 12 videos, each are 2+ hours long with a PDF 26-page guidebook written by me for the year ahead. Just an easy, like having a handy guidebook, like a car manual, what's happening, where the transits are, who's retrograde, and some thoughts I have about it in the write-up as well. So that all is available for $55 during December, and you can get the package for friends and family, a digital stocking stuffer. It's a PDF, right? So it's with links to the videos, to download the videos, to watch the videos, etc. But also listen for your sun, moon, and rising. And you can also buy your individual sign. In the description box, it is found. And a call to action, please hit the like button and subscribe. YouTube is bot scrubbing or dumping massive amounts of subscribers in December out of my channel. It's like there's a friggin' hole in the bottom of my water glass, so to speak. And I found out that's what's happening because I did a AI YouTube studio, what's going on with my subs. And they said, your subs are fine. You're getting a normal number of subscribers. You're getting a complete suction of people out of the channel, but it's really distressing, actually. All right, check to see if you're still subscribed. When you make content online and you work really hard and suddenly there's some anomalous thing that's dumping your subs out, you know, it hits us creators in our anxiety button about, is this channel viable? So let's go ahead and talk about your sign. I gave you the world events that I think I'd be worried about. Moon out of bounds, Mars out of bounds. Okay. We've got some intensity in the skies. Mars is invisible and Capricorn out of bounds. And that means he's breaking the rules. He doesn't have to listen to the tether of the sun. Similarly, the moon is out of bounds, and out of bounds moons is very intense energy as well. So we have kind of extreme rule breaking intensity, unusual intensity to the moon. It has beautiful aspects to it, like the trine to Chiron Eros in my other video. Today, we're going to cover more of the intensity of Mercury's bending the nodes in combination with the moon and the square to Saturn by Venus. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to start with the Aries, sun, moon, and rising. I cannot believe I don't have any chocolate. Oh, I think I do have chocolate in my house. I'll wait a bit for the chocolate break. I think I did buy one chocolate bar lately. I am so funny on the chocolate, guys. I've gotten way out of my chocolate habit since I moved to my new place. And I started to wonder why, because I think it's so bright in here. I've got big floor to ceiling windows facing, I got windows everywhere, but facing south and facing west. And it's so bright in here most of the time when it's even a cloudy day. I think it's taking away I might have been having I had a north facing apartment unit before this. My chocolate cravings might have been a need for some kind of neurological feel-good repair from a down in the dumps, cloudy, dreary, black, dark energy of Vancouver. All right, so here we have December the 17th, and that's not the day of the moon. The day of the moon is the 19th. The moon is happening at 28 degrees in the Galactic Center. I already described what that is. You'll see the asteroids here, Varda and Asteria and Gaia and Huya from beyond the sun. Huya is a Venezuelan, I think, and Bolivian god of the rain. I think we're going to have a lot of rain. I've talked about this before, but this is particularly intense because we also can see, and you can't see it here, but this is a Neptune on Sheet, the star of water disasters. Well, we also have in Scorpio still Deucalion from Noah's flood, as well as Typhon at the very end of Scorpio. In other words, we got a lot of water intensity coming off this lunation. They could precipitate major storms, major floods, breaking of dams, tidal waves. Just take your pick. It's all there. Now, one thing I would tell us about this storyline, because I'm about to move into Aries, right, is we have a lopsided energy here. We've got the sun, the moon, Venus, and Mercury in the sign of bows and arrows. Bows and arrows, Archer, are flying objects like airplanes or projectiles that cause harm, like big ones, like where it starts with word M. And you two put a new community standards thing, which was this so strict, guys? Is a topic controversial? And I click no, because if I click yes, they won't let me monetize it. So is it controversial to talk about this? You tell me. They're actually clamping down, and this just happened the last week, probably because of what's going on with the Epstein files and Kirk and Owens, and they're just trying to I don't know what they're trying to do. They want advertisers to only monetize completely placid, dumbed out content. That's basically what I think it is. So big money speaks, right? Donors speak, funding speaks, Google speaks. All right. So it is Mercury at 10 degrees on Antares, the star of war, right? And then Mercury bending the south node, north node. And as you move forward a day or two, he's still bending the node. So we're going to say the 19th, 20th is pretty active. And as he does this nodal bending on the 18th, 19th, 20th kind of thing, it's really building up, right? You'll feel it here on Thursday, the 18th, 19th, 20th. In our own life and in the world. Again, people who have the early Sag placement, like Joe Biden, I think Netanyahu's at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. He's born with the armor of the gods who made the weapons and thunderbolts of Zeus on his midheaven. He was always, he created the Iron Swords War, right? So threw a bunch of iron swords and decimated a whole people and its land. So he's cut out for the job, and you kind of got to go with it. So, but it is going to be Mercury on his natal ascendant. Same with Biden. Biden could announce something to the world, like, I'm not doing well, I'm going to plan my funeral. But Netanyahu could be announcing some shocking or intense or crazy story. And it might involve people connected to either disadvantaged, displaced, indigent, homeless, refugee energy, right? Because that's Pisces, where the North Node is, and near sea borders and ocean waters, which is Gaza. And over here, this is the same rising sign as Lebanon. I don't know why people didn't just Google Ben Gurion Canal when this whole war started. And we're kind of recapitulating a sky that's similar to 1904. And that was also connected to a time connected to the Panama Canal. So wait to find out news about that. You'll say, I told you so. I said that in the beginning of this war. It's all about the money. Okay. How about a canal that rivals the Suez? It's not controlled by Egypt or Arab countries, or if Arab countries are co-controlling it, it's with, England, France, United States, Germany at all. So there's a huge money stake in creating a canal that goes from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. And in order to cut that swath of territory through the land that used to be occupied by the Palestinians, Gaza, it literally is, or their natal land. It literally they needed North Gaza. It's in the documentary evidence. They needed North Gaza in order to do it, right? And also there are gas fields off the coast of Gaza, right? Natural gas, oil fields, gas fields for oil, gas, natural gas fields. So there's a huge grab of power, money. It's all power, money, and greed. Okay, it's all the cause of all wars by a very select, nefarious power, wealth, 1% that control the rest of the world. So that was cheerful. Let's go ahead and do your sign. When I do your sign, remember how I always say, listen for your sun, moon, and rising, and you go, wow. It's not too complicated. Your rising sign is your simulation avatar in the game of life, right? It's the mask, the meat suit, the character, the way your personality interfaces with reality. It's the character in the simulation. It's the movie character in the screenplay, right? The sun is your essential core self, the true self, the game player, the actor who plays the role. In an essence, so in a practical way, when you're listening for sun sign material, you're probably listening for things that are going to hook you up to career and purpose matters. Over the age of 44, second Saturn opposition has unfolded behind you. You're often aligned better and more truly and more easily with your sun sign energy. Okay. So if you are past 44, you passed the test of your Uranus opposition and Saturn opposition that followed, then you're probably like riding high on solar energy. So try listening for your sun sign. And then the rising sign circumstantially affects all the circumstances of one's life in the matrix. And then the moon is your feeling, thinking complex. I feel, I think, I feel about my life, right? If we didn't think and feel, we'd have, equanimity, ease, and peace. It's all that thinking, feeling, intensity that makes us complicated humans. But the moon, in a practical manner, as you listen, can influence matters of home. For example, eclipses to the moon can eclipse your home and you'll move, as just did happen to me, as the eclipse happened right on my moon in March, and my landlord gave notice, and here I am by July in my new place. So it's all the kind of, vibe of those three areas of reality. Now we're starting with Aries. Again, we're talking about how are you going to handle whatever this Venus square Saturn is. As the moon occurs, it's also embedded within it. So it can play out for a couple of weeks after. Is it love is hard, money is hard, responsibility and duty is hard? What's hard here? You want pleasure, you have to work. I don't know. And I'll give you some fun songs if one comes up for your sign. And then the sky doesn't look real today. It's absolutely surreal. We have a windstorm. We've got, I don't know, some kind of clouds I've never seen. One looks like a UFO. It's howling wind out there, about 60 miles an hour gusts, and the sky doesn't look real. Okay. That's exactly what this is about this week. What's real and what's not. And we're going to cover, as well, as I already mentioned, the bending of the node of Mercury and how that might embed itself over the next 2 weeks of lessons for you to learn. Intergalactic Center is a slam dunk for getting divine downloads, listen to your dreams, cosmic messages, and all of that. But we're pivoting on this moon thanks to Mercury. It gets dark here at 4:15, and the sun doesn't come up till 8 o'clock in the morning. Vancouver, Canada. All righty. How about it, guys? I'm an Aries sun and moon, so I relate. And over this window of the upcoming moon on Friday, December the 19th, we're going to see that Mercury will bend the node of fate for a pivotal moment in your life. It's a very rare pivot. It only happens every 18 years, right? But we need the south node here. And so 18, 20 years, we can have Mercury bending this node. So it's going to take us back to a long time ago. It's going to take us back to a cycle that we haven't seen for a long time. And so those eclipses that occurred in this part of our sky were 18 to 20 years ago, and we were making pivotal bendings. And I just realized, what the hell, I should give you the exact date. I had a problem doing this because AstroSeek wouldn't load, and I thought maybe we were having a solar storm. Let me just check the exact date for each sign when this last happened. Okay, I think we're having a solar flare or something. I cannot load half of this stuff on the internet right now. So all I did was go manually through my software. And I want us all to collectively and individually go back to December of 2007, Mercury squaring the South Node, and it would have been mid to late November of 2006. So let's just make it simple. November of 2006 and December of 2007, we saw the squaring of the nodes of fate. I know that when it comes to the nation IL in the Middle East, that was when they were pulling out of Gaza occupation, but also there was a huge amount of people dying over that time. You know what I mean, right? Okay, so let's go ahead to the now. The now. And we're going to go to Aries, where I was. Sorry that I lost Aries. Here we go, Aries. I love you guys. I'm one of you. Here we go. So pivotal turning points not seen since 2006 and 2007 November, and then the next year, December, those months in particular. You may not remember what was happening in your life, but you might notice that you are going to have another pivotal bending of the node in this area of your chart. So it can relate to things to do with education for you, especially higher education. And for example, I pulled out of my master's program and quit it in 2007. Alrighty, I had enrolled in the fall of 2006, and I didn't stick with it was a 3-year program, but I quit. Okay, so I stopped my higher education in doing a master's of transpersonal psychology. Well, there's a perfect example of my Aries sun career, right? Pivotal point around higher education, where Mercury is bending the node, South Node in the house of work. I didn't want to work as a professional therapist. I realized I didn't think I would have any fun. So that's exactly the kind of story I want you to go back and look for 2006, 7, November, and then December the next year. It kind of floats through the sky as pivotal turning points in this regard. There are also pivotal turning points regarding third marriages. Your 9th house in the tradition I use is a third marriage house. Major pivot points in relationships that are third marriage-like. They don't have to be an actual marriage. Oh my God, it's too windy for my mic, but it's so warm in here with the sun. Okay. But it can look like, some major decisions in a major love relationship that you would qualify as like a third spouse. Major pivotal points as well in your work, because the South Node is in the work house. And this is particularly bending the South Node. And so you might release, let go, surrender some kind of part of your livelihood, your job, and your work. And you recognize it's time. This is also ideal for letting go of self-undoing. Those kind of ways that you're unraveling your life because you have an addiction or a habit or a pattern that doesn't serve you. And so we can see you because of knowledge, truth, and wisdom, learning and education maybe, or even a petition to a higher power, you're able to let go of that issue. There's a beautiful energy with Mercury making pivots up here. If you're looking to pivot into something new in terms of spiritual life, some kind of new meditation path or seeking knowledge or truth. And you might want to pivot from a deep karmic reservoir of being of service to others in the way that you are changing your approach to your beliefs, your philosophy, your ideology, and if you have one, your particular religious belief. Technically, you travel, you make trips here, you could plan, execute a trip to a far off distant shore, international foreign land that's going to make a massive pivotal turning point in your reality. It's going to set you into a fresh new start filled with adventure and hope and optimism. Could even be a pilgrimage, or it could be a trip for like a medical spa or a detox or a rehab. But whatever this trip is, if you do plan a trip in the wake of the moon, so give it 2 weeks, I'd say it has a huge, powerful, destined quality to it. Antares brings worldly success, fortune, and honors on that Mercury. And you could get fortune and honors coming from matters to do with livelihood connected to podcasting, publishing, communicating, writing, and teaching. One thing I want to mention to finish up is, what about Venus? She's squaring Saturn. Look at that, 23 to 25 as this moon is occurring. And then, of course, she'll be in that square for 2 more days after. So she infuses this moon with a desire for her to accomplish something that's pleasurable, or that she thinks you would desire in the 9th house of academics, travel, foreign lands. And she has a square to realistic Saturn. It's kind of like a reality check, perhaps, raining on your parade about something you desired. Maybe you're not going to get into your favorite university. Maybe that trip you thought was the right one, you're not going to take that one. Don't forget, I could think we have some travel delays coming off of the sky as well. But nonetheless, Venus here can also be in her hookup to Neptune, looking for a kind of portal to a higher spiritual principle where love is no longer transactional for you, but it comes through the portal of unconditional love and enlightenment. You know, you can't give love or take love, or, you know what I mean, or get love, because love is, and you are, that kind of thing. The Oracle of Delphi says, know thyself. And the second write-up was, you are. Not you are anything, you are. So love is, you are it. There's maybe a spiritual transformation around the quality of love that you want to explore in your life as this portal of Venus and the moon on the Galactic Center opens up. And if you're making money in any particular digital income, borderless revenue way, there may be a pivotal turning point in how you acquire that money. You may change your platform provider to Stripe, or like for me, I'm going to start putting some YouTube ads out. I'm going to start making YouTube ads, not just being content provider. So maybe that'll be a pivotal turning point, but maybe it also feels hard. Like it feels like a lot of work, or I'm not liking the results, or I'm disappointed. It doesn't mean it's not going to work in the long run. Venus will be visible again mid-February. There just might be a delay. That's what I've got for you guys. And don't forget to listen to my video that came out Sunday and also Monday. In both of those, I talk about different aspects of the moon. I had a wonderful guest on my show. I really, really like her. And it is Anastasia of Anastasia Does Astrology on my Sunday drop. Everybody's getting a card reading, but I'm not going to do what I normally do, which is pivot back and forth. You've seen me do that. Stop the video, start the video, because this is an update video and I don't have time. I've got to be somewhere within 45 minutes to an hour. And I've done this content before. Your little bit of your card that I drew for you is called Free Will. I think that's interesting because the 9th house is a house of God and the 12th house is a house of enlightenment. It does put us in touch with these existential questions. The answer to your question is no. Yet remember, so when you come to this moon and you think there's something you want, the answer will be no. Yet you have free will. You are free to make your decisions. Just remember, you need to take responsibility for any choice you make. Meditate and see what your heart says. Meditate. Pisces 12th house. And this is a very interesting thing to, know that the answer to something you actually desire, Venus, might be a no, but if it's a no, it's for your highest good. And again, it could be that trip, that study, that educational path, something like that. Hey, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. A moon on the Galactic Center full of mystical, magical, and divine revelations and insights is happening in a very occult house of hidden mysteries. I mean, I talk to dead people, 8th house. I channel Archangel Michael. I do the tarot, numerology, astrology, etc. I'm a master of the supernatural. I know all about the paranormal. Me and the ghosts hang out daily. That kind of stuff is your area of activation here. But we also share money with people, right? We share money with our spouse, our in-laws here. We find ourselves in situations of banking and mortgages and credit cards and investments in the markets. It's money we share, hold, and royalty income or ad revenue. So there's a sense of the money that's not the daily paycheck here. And this kind of shared resources and unearned income, right, is where a new fresh start wants to happen, Taurus. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that this is also a house of inheritances. And yes, we have a new moon here on the yearly. And so, yes, you may not or may get inheritances at some point connected to these new moon cycles. I find it fascinating, however, that we also have Mercury on Antares giving us a pivot of some sort. Venus is a money goddess, and we don't mind that if you want to get some money out of this. But we also notice, and she's your exaltation lord of your windfalls house. So it could portend coming into some money that feels like a windfall. But Mercury's bending the south and north node, particularly technically bending the south node. So one of the pivotal things that is changing in this pivotal turning point moon is that you want to release, surrender, and let go of a fifth house matter. Now that can be attachment to your children. Maybe they're going to move away. Maybe you're going to move away from them. Talk about adult kids, obviously, attachment or, striving for something creative or artistic to work out. You might realize it's not going to. Maybe a release and a surrender of a particular pleasure. The pleasures are in the fifth house. And you realize that pleasure isn't going to be doing you any favors, okay, at all. So you're going to let that pleasure go. And Venus can rule, the addictive pleasures as well. And as you look at this sky, you might also let go of or release a romance that's in the dating phase. It won't be a committed love story here. It will be something that's in the early states of getting to know each other. And you might decide that this isn't really for you. Okay. A really weird way that the pivot at the bending of the nodes with, Mercury bending the node here. Information, news, email, phone calls, text messages, basically, about an inheritance coming through your doorway. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. And it would likely be a father figure. Or just money from a father figure. Like, here's a check, Venus is loving in the eighth house to bring you chunks of money if she can do it. And squaring the north node isn't meaning that it's not going to happen. It means that there's going to be a lot of intensity and a lot of fatedness around any chunks of money that can come to you. But she's also squaring Saturn. And Saturn is like, it's going to feel like a hard knock of some kind. A hard knock brings you money. I'll give you an example. Your company is laying people off and you get a chunk of money, but it's a severance package and you loved your job. So a kind of hard knock in the earnings and prosperity and gains of your career, a kind of reality check. Maybe you thought you're going to get a massive bonus check at the end of the year and you got a minor bonus check. There could just be something like that going on. But when she's bending that south node, she's changing the way you love. And some of you might meet soulmated, destined, fated love stories coming in off the 2 weeks that follow this moon, even up to 6 months later. And some of you might be engaging in secret, off the books love, if you know what I mean, into extracurricular or hidden love stories. Because of this, Venus is hidden. The south node is past connections in the romance house. And yeah, so there's a bit of that possibility. I mean, you do you. I'm going to draw a card, but if you get involved in a hidden secret love story, you also be careful for office romance because Libra is your working house, and that's where, and she's in the house of hidden storylines. Hidden storylines in love. The card for you is emotional transformation. You release, your keywords are release, freedom. It's safe for you to express how you feel. Let it all out. Relationships deepen as a result. Well, the eighth house is very much a house about intimacy in a relationship. So release, express how you feel, and deepen relationships as a result. And anything else I want to tell you about this? Pay attention to your dreams. Mercury is a messenger of the gods who tells us what's true in our dreams. Sagittarius is a sign of truth and wisdom. The Galactic Center is here. This can look like one of the most amazing, life-changing dream periods of your entire reality. Pay attention to your dreams that come through this lunation a day or two before and after. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Don't forget, you guys, to hit the like button and subscribe. Come take classes with me. Any courses I'm teaching are always listed in my description box. I have a Mars webinar coming up. I'd love to see you there. Mars and his conjunction with the sun. Wow, we have an absolutely surreal sky to the point where I think I need to photograph it, but I don't have my phone handy. Like it does, I don't never seen a sky like this. Oh my God, where is my phone when you need it? Okay, hang in there. Don't go anywhere. Sorry, Gemini. I need to take a photo. I'm not going to stop the recording because I always forget to start it again. And my phone is missing in action. So there you go. I'll just have to remember that the most surreal sky that I've ever seen is outside my window at this time. Seriously, Lori? Okay, I'm going to go a few more signs and I'm going to stop the recording and take that photo. Okay, so Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, your marriage house is activated, your significant long-term love house, the people that you would call your longtime partners, and in business or love. And this is an important story because the Galactic Center is wide awake here. There's a surreal part of the sky connected to the origins of humanity and cosmic downloads connected to your other person. I wonder with Mercury, it's news, phone calls, and text messages. Antares is also a star that is about success. Maybe you're going to hear from a significant relationship partner that they just hit some kind of positive developments or success in their own life. It's a fresh start. It's a new beginning. The star asteroids Varda is there, and Huya, Beyond the Sun. Maybe they feel like a superstar in some new success story, and you're just hearing about it. Okay, so there's that. On the other hand, a conversation or information coming to you from a significant other person or an audience and client. If you have a career that's very needing to reach out to a marketplace, an audience of some sort, the public of some sort, then this is going to be news coming from that sector, information coming from that sector on a success star that's pivoting and bending your destiny. And you're bending your destiny connected to the South Node in particular. Some information or news could relocate you, give you an opportunity for a new home. It could help you let go, release, and surrender a situation in your private or domestic life that is no longer tenable. It could also be a pivoting energy in the fourth house regarding some childhood stuff, some information about your childhood that you didn't know. Mercury can rule legal information at the same time. So I don't know, could be anything here, because what kind of legal information would you find out about your childhood, your mother, your family that, that may harken back to maybe something unknown, something that you are going to discover. Because Mercury is bending the South Node, he's also still applying square to the North Node. The North Node is a desire for some extension of worldly success in the top of the sky. The bosses love you, the business is succeeding, the public is on your side, you're expanding, you're worldly, you're successful. North Node, Mercury information news from the sector of the public or the audience could be a nice situation, a pivotal turning point in your professional success, as well as a releasing and letting go of hangups, patterns, and ancestral wounds that could hold you back. Although for a very few of you, there may be some opportunity for a change of location of where you live coming off of this particular sky. Mercury rules your house of home where the South Node is. And so there's likely a possible new legal contract coming your way to refine or change situations regarding where you live. I mean, a new moon's, by the way, activate over 6 months, and this is embedded within the architecture of the new moon. Venus wants her pleasures. You want pleasures with others, fun time with friends, romantic and intimate time with another. And maybe you want some more success, more love from your clients and your audience. And now that whole glow up that wants to happen with Venus, who's still invisible to mid-February, hits a bit of a professional reality check in your 10th house with a square to Saturn and to later on Neptune within a few days after the moon. It could be like you're realizing something really profound, deep, and true, and revising your direction when it comes to how you orient towards serving your clients, your audience, your marketplace, or how you relate to relationship as well. Some of you might be rethinking the whole idea of happily married in this chart. Now we've got like an angel out there and a bowling pin. You wouldn't believe the sky. Looks like Farrah Fawcett's hair as well. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys. I'm going to draw a card from what deck am I using? The Spirit Oracle. It's just because it's pithy and there's kind of lofty spiritual messages here. And the card I have for you, don't forget to join my membership community here on YouTube. You are entering a time of great love and peace. Oh, be patient and allow the current storm to clear. Resurrection, no more wounds, only love predicted for your future. Well, the kind of love you're drawing in is committed and long-term. Okay. That's what you got going on here. No two ways about it. All right. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. First things first. Quite possibly with this entire stellium and the new moon energetically placed in your sixth house, you are looking at matters to do with your work and sometimes your health and a fresh start and a new beginning with the Galactic Center activated, maybe a divine download about how to improve your health or change your work in a way that's a new beginning that's going to be wonderful for you. And grounded as well with Gaia, the Earth Mother, in the mix. I could say with the co-present Mercury bending the North Node and South Node, particularly the South Node, on a powerful star of success when it's not causing war, you can have some really great success in your profession, in your work, in your job, connected to some news that's coming to you, like a phone call or text, an email, a job interview opportunity, a call that you got the job. Those are things I could see in the sky. But with the South Node being squared or bent by Mercury, there's also a releasing and a surrendering and a letting go of something that is connected to your third house. And so there may be like a change of work connected to a sibling, a releasing of a location of inhabiting a neighborhood or a city because of a situation with work, a letting go and a releasing of a writing project, communicating, marketing, and selling endeavor, or even website or online business as you move towards something fresh and something new. And there's success in that relocation of energy because of the energy here, of course, of Mercury. Rental property leases belong to the sixth house, whether you're the landlord or tenant, is the architectural energy or symbolic energy of indentured servitude and land, the tenants on the land. So you could possibly find yourself leaving your home for a new fresh start because of a new rental property opportunity coming through your sky. Maybe in the 2 weeks that follow the moon, or even up to 6 months later, kind of bakes in this change, potential for change, right? I kind of want you to know that with the Mercury on this positive star here, bending the North Node as well, powerful energy, not bending, well, bending it, but squaring it. There's an extending of your intensity toward work that could be international, that might require travel, to work that could take you into educational roles, to moving towards something to do with a spiritual path in your career. Guiding, mentoring, teaching, or healing or something, other people. Those are possible stories as well. Venus is squaring Saturn. Saturn is the hard stop, the no, and Venus is the goddess of pleasure. And there may be a travel plan that's delayed. There may be some journey that you plan to take to a watery destination that you have to postpone just in the short term, in a couple of weeks after this moon. Whatever doesn't come to you isn't meant to come. There can be hangups and hookups in connecting to educational plans that you had all lined up, and they're just not going to manifest when or as you thought they would. Well, that's an eagle in the sky now. And I would encourage you, if some plan is delayed regarding work or travel or publishing or podcasting, those are themes that can go into the ninth house. It's okay, because it's a bit of also a sobering up, right? A reality check about that thing that you thought you desired, and something's not quite gelling quite yet. But I do want to say that when Venus is visible mid-February onward, you might see some new momentum towards something that you were aspiring to do with international travel. So it's not all is lost, or academic success, or publishing and podcasting and writing and stuff like that. All right. So especially with Jupiter protecting you, you are literally under Jupiter's guiding hand. So every delay is the perfect delay right now. Every holdup is going to save your ass from something that didn't need to happen. So don't get down in the dumps. Do not get so caught up with the everyday drama of life. Close your eyes, focus on your breath, and allow it to carry you into a peaceful space inside your heart, an eternal place beyond time, filled only with love. Well, why the hell not, right? You got the North Node and Neptune for meditation and discipline, Saturn in the house of spirituality, God. So take a meditation break and don't go too much into life stress. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign, a new moon, a new beginning, a fresh start, and faith, hope, and optimism, romantic love. If you're a single Leo, this new moon could bring you an incredibly powerful new relationship. And with all the stars there, if you're an actor, performer, artist, you're coming into a new level of star power because of those asteroids. And we also have a galactic center divine transmission coming through your fifth house as well. If you're looking to incite fertility, Venus is a goddess of sperm and ovum and fertility in itself, new beginnings, new moon. You might be giving birth to some kind of celestial creature or getting pregnant with something that comes from beyond the galactic center, maybe an enlightened master. How about that? We could use some more of that. So pregnancy could show up in this part of the chart. If you're not pregnant with a baby, you or your partner, you're pregnant with possibilities. What creative, artistic, entrepreneurial parts of your life are wanting to flourish? You want a fresh start. You want to grow it there. And of course, it is just romance. And if you are single looking for love, this is a great lunation. Now, you say, what about the square to Saturn? I hear you. Saturn just brings delay. And Saturn can also say, well, you got the love you want, but why are you keeping it a secret? Let's get real about this. So being the mistress kind of thing, or not wanting to tell your family about somebody, or holdups. Maybe he's getting a divorce as she is, and you don't want to get in the way of their separating from their spouse. So if you've been engaged in a kind of a undercover relationship, it's probably going to indicate it is a time for you to demystify it, to bring it more into the public. And that's kind of a push comes to shove, you're not hiding this anymore. And by mid-February, Venus is visible. That might be much more true. I do want to mention that as well, Venus spending the South Node could take you away from a particular oral pleasure. Like you're drinking too much, eating too much chocolate or Haagen-Dazs. Any pleasure that goes into your nose or mouth and wanting to surrender, release, and let go. The moon rules your house of addiction. So it's really an ideal time for a cleanse and a detox. In fact, the star of poison is on the moon. And so it's about detoxing and cleansing from pleasures that aren't good for your body. Especially Mars gives you the courage and determination to improve your health through motivation and willpower. Finally, there's a quality of the fifth house that is good fortune, including winning money through gaming and gambling and speculation. Mercury is the ticket. He's on a powerful star of success. In fact, in this kind of sky, I'm wondering if you would like maybe to know your limit and play within it, but buy a ticket. Okay. And you never know, right? Because the North Node is expanding your chunky money. And maybe all Saturn and Neptune is like the complications of your tax situation as you have to pay a lot of money on your giant jackpot. So it can't hurt to play a ticket under the sky. I would not do it. I think it's a good idea. So let's draw a card for you, Leos. All right, here it comes. This is a moon, this pivoting your love life. What do I get for you? Can't make this up. Someone you love, Leo, will appear to you in your dreams. They reflect a part of you, a time of remembrance, a time of reflection, and a time of healing. Okay, so love stories in your dreams. Okay. I see that with Neptune, the dream god, in the house of the deep unconscious. So sure. But I think a real relationship, a real karmic and destined, fated soulmate relationship may appear off of this story as well. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, in your fourth house, you have a new beginning. Often it means a new home, but not always. A change in who lives in the home, a change in what you do in your private life in your home, a change of circumstances connected to your home, or a new home. So you may be plotting and planning a new home and a fresh start. Place is going to give you a lot of, pleasure. Venus is there. It's going to be more beautiful. It's going to be more enjoyable. Now, the new moon can give you that new home anytime, evidence for it within 2 weeks after the moon, but even all the way up to 6 months. So my Virgo rising daughter already knows she'll be moving in March to a new home. So there's that example. My Virgo rising girlfriend, or Virgo sun girlfriend, is thinking of moving her home. Okay. She doesn't even know it yet. I can see it with her partner. So qualitatively, some of you will have a new home, but otherwise restarting, fresh starts and new beginnings that are engendered from the midnight hour in the private life, in your home time, where you come up with new ways to freshen up your life. And it's ruled by Jupiter in the 11th house. You might come up with new ways to freshen up your profits and earnings from your career as you concoct a new master plan from your home base. However, Venus is bending the nodes of fate, but he is on the wealth and success star and worldly success star of Antares. So that's good news. But he is bending the south node in your first house. And it's almost to say something along the lines of, are you getting ready to release, surrender, and let go an old way of being, an old identity? It doesn't suit you anymore. Like this, the snake is no longer fitting into the skin. It has to shed the old skin. And that identity can be connected to addiction, self-undoing, bad patterns. It's good for a detox at home, quietly going your own way, doing a cleanse or dry Jan, any of those kinds of things, because of a star for purifying that's sitting with the actual moon. I covered that in another video. Atlantan. I kind of want you to think about also the expansion of your focus on your significant other, because Mercury bending the North Node would be pivotal turning point changes in your committed long-term love relationship, may be connected to domicile or where you guys live, but also an energy of more intensity and focus on interacting, communicating, and relating to a significant long-term love partner is advised and is likely to happen anyway. Venus is invisible till mid-February, so you might not be able to decorate or design or beautify or have more fun in a home until then, and in a very visible way. At the same time, Venus is also potentially down here, an indicator of time spent with females or friends in your home. And this moon will open you up to more, especially with Mercury, entertaining with others in your home rather than going out to expensive restaurants and bars or wherever else. So making this new shift towards pleasure and joy, entertainment and friendship around the table, at dinner, in your home, having more fun that way. Drawing a card for you from this deck called the Spirit Oracle, and the message is, ancient and sacred knowledge is waiting within the heart of the earth, yearning to be discovered. Crystals hold the key. Connect energetically with the Earth Mother and her crystal realm. Healing, love, and abundance will result. Okay, you have a wealth star, success star Antares on Mercury in the 4th house of land, property, and real estate. You have Gaia, the frigging Earth Mother here. Now, if you do change your home, it might be more connected to the earth, like closer to walks on the beach or in the woods. But I'd take this advice and go get yourself a Darren crystal and connect with Earth Mother on this moon and see what abundance, prosperity, and green lusciousness unfolds from that story. I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't amazing. Venus squaring your partner and squaring Neptune, I should have mentioned, could also look like your partner's going through some hard time and pivotal turning point decisions that they're working on, that they have to figure out in their own life. And some of that for them may be to do with how they earn money. And they realize they want to make a change. And they're trying to come up with an action or decision plan around it, if you're married, for instance, and it's just taking them a lot of time. Okay, now I'm going to stop the share because now it looks like the pyramids in the sky. I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to take a picture. If I find my phone, I'll be right back. I can't take a picture. I'll have to have a memory snapshot of a sky that is so surreal, so crazy, so unbelievable. And I literally have no clue where my phone is. Oh, okay. And we're going on to the next sign. Am I recording? I am. Okay. Whew. I am recording. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So that's what we got, Virgo. And did I draw a card for you? No, I'm just about to draw. No, I did draw a card. Didn't I draw a card? I think I did. Sorry, guys. So we're moving on to Libra. Moon is occurring in your 3rd house. Fresh starts, new beginnings. It's quite powerful. It's connecting you to the Galactic Center in a house to do with communication. So I think this, you could channel information from the right communicate channel, or just tune in and get some information from that Galactic Center. Now, all these stars are down here. If you're in the social media landscape, the asteroids of stars and starrydom. Oh, there's my phone. It's right in front of me. You don't even want to know. Okay. Oh my God, that is so funny. I'm going to take a picture. Give me a minute, guys, and then I'll be sharing this with you on YouTube community. This is unreal. This is not even. You won't believe what I'm seeing. This is not the kind of clouds we have in the city, okay, Vancouver. That's why I'm having a moment. And I'm not going to stop the recording. I'm sorry. You can complain all you like. If I do stop the recording, I will forget to turn it on. So that's why I'm not. All right, got it. All right. Whew. All right, moving on to Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. First of all, like, you could be a star in social media. You could have a really new, fresh start. You know, one of your platforms, websites, social media sites takes off. So look for that possibility of a fresh start here, especially if you're writing and you want to publish. Mercury rules your house of publishing. He's in the house of writing. It looks like a really great story here. Getting your ideal publishing contract or something, or some kind of deal. This is also really good for travel, with a caveat, right? We have a square to Saturn. You might want to travel. You might want to get on a trip. You might want to be on a journey somewhere. And there is some kind of block. And the block could be a health matter or a professional matter. Something Saturn, Neptune isn't quite ready. Mercury's bending the nodes of fate, in particular, the South Node in your 12th house. The narrative might be it's time to release, surrender, and let go of an addiction or a pattern of undoing. Time to let go of a karmic past life relationship. Time to release and surrender a particular ancestral or karmic vow or block that you no longer need. And you're going to do that because you have communication, conscious, more like ideas about it. You know, your mind is actively pursuing these themes. This new moon is also on with Mercury on an Antares star for worldly success, in a very busy house to do with those writing, communicating, marketing, selling, teaching, and communicating. And so worldly success is coming through here as a fresh start, all of that. It could also look like this Mercury in the square to the South Node, that you could easily find yourself in possession of a new job coming off this moon, new position in the work, a new type of work, a new professional activity that's also going to have a lot of success in it, embedded within it from the get-go. Yeah, the short-term Venus wants her pleasure. She wants to go have fun. And Jupiter rules the moon. He wants you to have career success. North Node does too. So, you know, maybe there's a pleasure trip or some fun you wanted to have with friends in the neighborhood, and it's just not going to happen. Now, Venus rules friendship in a house of friends. So sometimes, like the kind of friends we have here live close to home. They're in the neighborhood. We've known them since we're in high school. Like, these are long, like the besties, the easy friends that you have. There's a possibility that you're going to have some problem with that friend because they're having a problem. And the problem that Venus square Saturn, Neptune could have is a health challenge. So you might be dealing with a friend with a health challenge in the couple of weeks that follows the moon, but even up to 6 months later, we have an activation of friends and the house of hospitals, or a sibling one younger and hospitals and health issues as well, or maybe siblings in general. Okay. If I had the sky, I would use the Mercury energy to really get down with my my social media, my work there, my channeling something. Again, travel delays for sure, especially if you thought the trip was for work, or you wanted to take a trip, but work will force you to stay where you are and not go anywhere. And I'm talking about a friend with a health challenge, and now we've got the sirens in the distance. You probably can't hear them. Thus, we are going to double down on that story. Not all of our life is without difficult challenges. That might be one for you at this time. Okay, so, and the moon will be over here, by the way, in Sag. It just moved over because we're moving the chart forward, right? And so we can't keep the moon in place. I'll just do that. Let's draw a card for you about this third house stellium and see what we get. Remember, with Venus not visible until mid-December, some of this kind of pleasure and luck and good things, or even the friend with the health challenge, it may not even be known to you right away, right? Because it's hidden, invisible. So you might find out more like in February, but there may be some things going on in the 2 weeks that follow this December 19th moon that give you a clue about it. Angel over me is your card, and it says protection card. Angel wings surround you, Libra. Replace fear with love, trust. You are eternally held safe within the arms of an angel. In the arms of an angel. Sarah McLachlan, I think. Okay, that's wonderful. I don't see that you need a lot of protection here, other than that Venus is going to die in the heart of the sun and be born again on January 6th. Your Lord is going to rebirth you in the third house of work, communication, social media. That's a fucking, excuse my language, 5-alarm blaze out there. It's cray cray. Oh my God. I don't know if you could hear it. Okay, moving into the next story. Don't forget, there's a video that came out Sunday and another video that came out Monday that also touched on different aspects of this lunation. Not repeating the old stuff. Oh my God. Hmm. Sorry, guys, charging the phone. I'm going to get gnarly comments here. I know it. Um, if you're in my world and you stop the recording and you don't start it, you talk for another hour, then you just want to jump off a cliff. You know why I'm not stopping it when I navigate away from my computer. Alrighty, so it is for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, all about the second house. This is your work money house. Like, I saved the money, I stashed it away, I earned it. It's my coming off the paycheck vibe. It's like, it's my resilient wealth and finances. It's my financial health. If this house is going to have a new beginning and a fresh start, then it can be, with Venus here, a new source of financial income. And with a new source of financial income wanting to emerge with Antares and Mercury, it could be involving marketing, communicating, speaking, selling, worldly success. Mercury can bring it for you. Do not doubt he is the ruler of your 11th house of career gains and profits. Now, you'll notice, in order for the good new fresh start to come, you got to surrender, release, and let go of something in the work profits house. Mercury bends the south node in the house of work. It could be that you're facing a decision to leave behind one path that you've been on. It could have even been successful, and recognize it's just not working for you. And you want to find a new way to make money in a professional capacity. And in this way, you probably will, within 6 months of this moon, start to navigate, if not sooner, towards something different. I wonder as well if you could say that you're going to change your dietary style, because pleasures are what Venus wants. And she's squaring Saturn. And therefore, it may not be possible to keep your pleasures going, because as the ruler of your addictions 12th house, some of those pleasures may really, really not be good for you. And you recognize that, you got a beer belly or something, or every time you eat chocolate, before bed, you wake up with acne on your skin. Now I see a dog in the sky. So I think that you're probably going to change your dietary style. Is that a sign I'm getting a dog? I could be, or you are, because this is your reading. Okay, so I'm going to add to that. Okay. Saturn is squaring Venus, the goddess of something you can possess. And he rules the house of animals. And there is a dog in the sky. I'm not kidding you. That looks just like a puppy in the sky. This is an unbelievably unreal sky. So I think, too, we could be looking at a situation where you want to possess a pet coming off of this new moon that will bring you pleasure and joy. Okay, Mercury bends the north node in the house of pleasure and joy. And Venus is a fertility signature with a new moon. It squares Saturn, however. Venus squares Saturn. There may be fertility disappointments and delays. It doesn't mean it won't happen. Venus is not visible till February. So if you or your partner are trying to conceive a child, the delays won't last. Saturn moves out of your 5th house in February. Venus becomes visible. So don't try so hard. It's just perhaps not the right time. Okay. And I'm going to draw a card for you and see what we get. The wind is so intense out there, and I was going to walk to this foot massage place. I'm not even sure I can. I actually think we have something like, I don't know, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. The spirit of the ocean calls you, offering healing and much-needed peace. Well, you have water everywhere here, right? North Node in the pleasure house with water. Jupiter in the 9th house of foreign lands with water. You're made of water. Come to the water and connect with its endless flow of magic. Scorpio. You need a change of scenery, take a holiday, and all will fall into place. Well, Jupiter, Lord of the new beginning in your money house and dietary house, is in the house of foreign lands. And I would say get in water in any way you can. Do a hot cold plunge, even. Just find ways to water up, as we just read. Water up. Scorpio, Sagittarius. Oh, come on, Lori. You've got to be kidding me. I got to roll here, guys. I got to walk to a foot massage place. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. The sky opens up, a beautiful new start, fresh start, full of star asteroids, shooting stars, accretion of stars beyond the sun, whatever, on the Galactic Center with Antares, a wealth and success star connected to Mercury. So first of all, you make your own success here. It's not happening without you. So you have to go for it. You have to make it. It is also connected to Lord Jupiter, of course, in your eighth house of chunky money. How about some money success for you? And this is also Mercury bending the nodes of fate. Let go of something in your reputation, your career, that job, that professional activity that you really don't want to hold on to. Push yourself for a greater, bigger expansion in things you're creating in and from the home. And it could be with Eros in your fifth house, so you don't see it, a perfect time to begin an entrepreneurial, artistic, or creative self-starter business. You could be also looking at Mercury asking you to change your home to a bigger home, a larger home, or a foreign home. And as Venus, the goddess of pleasure, is square, and that's pivotal changes in home and career, and yet success as a result, you need to make the decision. And it may involve a significant other relationship ending or decisions with another person that you're committed to. You can say that Venus will square Saturn for love is hard. Money is hard. Love is hard in the home. Money is hard connected to the home. Challenges about being in a state of pleasure and yet you're alone at home alone. It's almost like Venus wants to have love and pleasure and fun. And then in the house, you're home alone, or you're lonely in the home, or you're feeling isolated. That's going to change when Venus is visible in February and Saturn leaves the fourth house. Just hang in there. In other words, there's delays in pleasure and pleasurable activities connected to your home and your identity. And Jupiter rules. There's also a signature for maybe changing some relationship conditions to go into separation, a marriage, divorce agreements in the sky for some of you, and pivoting in a pivotal way towards those critical decisions. I've got the card love partnership, magnetic attraction between people, union, a deeper sense of self through a relationship with another. Yes, that's true. But Mercury, the Lord of your seventh, is in a condition of detriment. So if you're going to push for something new, you have to get into more of a profound intimacy that tells the truth, says Jupiter. Okay. Otherwise, you get ready to meet somebody new. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. So the sky tells us that you're going to have this fresh start in your spiritual enlightenment, moksha, liberation house, opening up doors of perception, releasing maybe karmic patterns as well. Having the new moon in the 12th could move you to a far off land or shore, create money and revenue from distant shores and lands, or have you working for a foreign entity or company. You might also notice that Mercury bends the south node in the ninth house. It's time to release, surrender, and let go a belief, a religion, an ideology, an attachment to a third marriage situation, or let go of love connected to foreign lands and shores. And that's just because we also see Venus squaring that node. Well, she's also squaring the Lord of limitations, Saturn. So you might feel like there's something that you need to release that way as well. Mercury rules commerce. Okay. Mercury rules commercial success in general. And he is on a very powerful star. And if you're going to experience success coming off of Lord Mercury from his square to the north node, it is a worldly success increase of some kind. And it can connect you to a relocation to a new city, a new state, a new town, a new neighborhood of some sort. And that's because Mercury rules rentals, by the way, and the North Node is the expansion or change of neighborhood. Mercury here is ruled by Jupiter, as is the North Node. And some of the changes of where you live will connect to business opportunities, business partnership opportunities, or love relationship success and growth. Okay. I would say to you with Venus squaring Saturn that some bed pleasures are delayed. By that, I mean romantic and sexual pleasures with self or other are delayed or facing blockages, maybe because the travel houses are activated and there is an inability to travel or a delay in travel, especially if you're in a long distance love relationship. And by the way, I do see travel delays off this lunation anyway, right? Squaring so the world's going through travel delays. You got the same card as the last sign. What are the odds of that? Love, partnership, magnetic attraction between two people, and union. You discover a deeper sense of self through a relationship with another. Yeah, you cannot make this shit up. Jupiter rules the moon in the house of significant committed love. Yeah, we're in distant shores, far off lands, or far off places. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I am one of you. We have a breathtakingly powerful, new, fresh start in the Galactic Center in the House of Career Gains. This is your dreams, goals, and wishes. It's your social groups, allies, and benefactors, the house of the sibling one older, fresh start, fresh start, fresh start. And it is connected to divine downloads. It's how you can like come up with a new vision or a new long range goal or dream for a career path that's going to feel full of faith, hope, adventure, and optimism. Now, because we also have Mercury on Antares, a star of great worldly success up here, it doubles down on honor and preferential treatment for you in your career profitability in the 2 weeks and even 6 months that follow the new moon. But Mercury is squaring the south node, and it's a time to let go of some kind of financial reliance on other people's money. Sadly, the 8th house isn't just about inheritances. It could also be that you're making money like I am, ad revenue from Google, right? Maybe that thing is going to be the golden handcuffs or something. I might want to let go of that. You might also be feeling like there's a destined way that your career is changing and how you make money, fated and destined as you lean into past life gifts and talents in the occult arts. Venus is here. She is squaring Saturn, and she's bringing a delay in something that is going to give you pleasure or success, a delay in money from your career or fun in your career or enjoyment of your career profitability gains as you come into a kind of contraction in your pocketbook, wallet, spending, or earnings. It's just a temporary situation. Mid-February, it should turn around. I do think that with Mercury squaring the north node of worldly success on a success star, this is just a situation that needs to wait itself out. So if you're feeling contracted around money, spending, earnings, or even social time with friends, you got to work hard. You got to work hard for your money. And darn it, all that social life is calling you. You just don't have time. You're more of an interior loner. In fact, when the whole parade of planets enters Capricorn, in the end of December and through January, you will be quite enjoying alone time. Your social life can bounce back a bit better with visible Venus later on in the month of March. I kind of want to mention that you could have some news or information coming from a friend, a benefactor, an ally, or a sibling one older that's going to be very powerful and game-changing and pivot your financial stories pretty dramatically but successfully. Venus also rules your house of podcasting and publishing. Again, she's feeling frustrated, stuck, trying to get realistic about it, maybe delays in some of the things you're trying to accomplish there. And there's just something not quite working. She rules your house of travel. You want to go on a journey, long distance and foreign, again, maybe with a friend, maybe for a professional reason. You may have to cancel that or delay that. Very practical advice. The card I have for you on this intergalactic moon is patience. You are entering a time of great love and peace. Be patient and allow the current storm to clear, or just I say the frustration to clear. You're going to make money. You're going to be successful. There may be some kind of delay through to February. Be patient and allow the current storm to clear. Resurrection, no wounds, only love predicted for your future. And finally, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. We have a lunation on the Galactic Center in the 10th house of career, reputation, social standing, weddings and wakes, a whole gamut. It's a very high noon in the sky. You've got a lot of attention for a fresh career and job start, perhaps. Sun rules your livelihood and work house. And so you may be looking at a new direction, a pivot in your career, because Mercury on a success star, Antares, is bending the nose of fate. Because the Antares star is bending the south node with Mercury, you might be letting go of, releasing, or surrendering a marriage, long-term committed love relationship, or karmic relationship. And you also are seeing Mercury square the north node and is increasing your sense of who you are as you expand your footprint of identity in this world, and you're coming more into a new sense of self. Now, this new sense of self is realistic and dreamy at the same time, mystical and magical, dissolved and unconditionally loving. It's a self based on Neptune, Saturn energy. And so you're really expanding into a very strange, mystical territory. Sometimes you might be thinking you're losing your mind. This energy is okay. You'll be fine. Venus wants you to have something in the top of the sky. She wants you to have money from a job, fun in your job, success in your job, popularity in your work and career. She wants you to have a high social standing connected to how people perceive you in the world. And yet there are things going awry. And she rules one of your travel houses, a short distance travel. There may be delays. She's squaring Saturn. You want to travel. It could be for love. It could be for professional reasons. It could be for anything. And you're just not getting any traction on the idea of travel, especially travel connected as well to committed love and spousal love because of Mercury's co-presence. So I would expect you to experience some delays in travel during the 2 weeks that follow the moon and up to 6 months later. And Mercury rules your relationship house, like the long-term committed one, and you are bending that south node. There are massive pivots in the marriage house, one way or the other. If you're with a marriage partner, then maybe pivots in how you share the resources between you and that person, divorce settlements included. Or if you're single, then there's pivots, not so much in necessarily a relationship, but how you approach relationship at all. What's your spiritual philosophy? What's your belief? What's your approach? With Jupiter in your sex and romance house, you should be like okay there, right? But he's retrograde until March 11th. You have to go back to plumb the depths of the past when it comes to romance. Sometimes this brings a former romantic partner back into your life. Someone you love will appear in your dreams. That's a card called Dreaming of You. They reflect a part of you, a time of remembrance and a time of reflection and a time of healing. Well, you can't make that up because that's exactly the themes of your chart that are active. It is now 4:36 and it's going to be completely dark. The sun is down as of 4 o'clock, 4:15. I'm going to go into that windstorm. I'm going to post a picture on my YouTube community of the crazy sky with the dog and the UFOs and the portals. That was unreal. You won't believe what I was looking at. I'm not exaggerating. I'll see you guys in the next video. There's no outro today. I'm running off for a much needed foot massage. Love you guys. Subscribe and like. I do weekend now, Saturday or Sunday, live premieres on my YouTube membership. I had the best time with my 9 people that showed up on my last one. Hopefully more of you will come, but it's an intimate setting. I'm watching your comments and I'm responding to you as I cover a topic, etc. And I'll take questions as well. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.